December Daily. So I am working on day one in my album. I've done some things that sort of happened in November as a pre-December sort of thing. And so this is officially day one. So I've got a full page. So this is 6.75 by 8.25 black and white photo of me standing on the kitchen counter decorating. And I sort of forgot to start my video before I started, so I've got my journaling printed out that I've just printed on. This is matte presentation paper from Staples, and I'll link to that in the description below. And what I'm doing in the process of doing is sort of adding some embossing to my journaling card. And so I'll show you where I'm at with that. The other thing I think I want to do is inspired by something that Allie did in her day 2 video, is sort of cut down. This is the 2x2 page, or 2x2 squares page protector. I think I want to cut the strip off and sort of add it down the side of my photo here to cover up some of this background stuff, and add some little like embellishments and maybe my number in the page here, or in the pockets here. So I'm gonna play around with that a little bit. And what I'm starting with is actually working on the back of this envelope page, or pocket page, that is part of my pre-December stories. So this is gonna sort of be the right-hand side, or left-hand side, and this on the right. So let's show you what I am working on currently, which is jazzing up this journaling card. So I'm really loving all the copper foiling and accents in the main kit and associated products from Allie this year. And I have this old classy copper embossing powder from Stampin' Up! That I'm using. And it's real old, like I don't even know when this is from. It's a really long time ago, but it still works great. So, and I have a whole jar of it, as you can see. I'm also using a Versamarker. So this is the same sort of ink that comes in the Versamark pad that you would use for embossing. I am using the marker version of that. So it's the same ink inside. So you can write with this, you can add sort of handwritten details, and then emboss them. So what I'm doing here is actually just drawing sort of crosshatch lines around the sort of box of my journaling, just for a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of shine. So I don't know if that light is catching that or not. So I've already done 3 sides. I'm going to show you how I'm doing the last side here. Now I'm going to go over this a couple of times because what's happening is, let me actually move all my journaling, or all my embossing stuff over here, get ready. Because what is happening is the paper is sort of soaking up a lot of the ink. So I'm just gonna kind of freehand draw a line back and forth to get a little bit of the ink on there. If I was using something that had a little bit less absorption to it, like a cardstock, it would probably work a bit better. Shaking off the excess, I just use, these are coffee filters, and it makes it really easy to put all of the embossing powder back in my jar. And then I'm just gonna hit it with my heat gun. All right, so I don't know if you can see the sort of detail on that, but it's not smooth like a stamped image would be. It definitely has some gaps in it, and it's a little rugged, and I just think that looks really pretty. All right, so let's get this piece. I'm just gonna set this aside for a couple minutes and let it make sure everything is set on that while I clean up some of the embossing powder so I don't spill it all over my desk, which is totally a thing I would do. All right, get all that out of the way since we're done with that. And then I'm just gonna trim down my photo and get started thinking about how this page is gonna work. I use this is just a paper trimmer from Stampin' Up. I really like the quality of their tools, and since that's sort of one is my foray into paper crafting, was through card making and my mom. It's just been something, it's a company that I support because they make good quality stuff. And I do not like the Fiskars brand paper trimmer because it's, I just have never had good luck with it. So the Stampin' Trimmer or Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer is my go-to. It's also big enough to do sort of almost 13 by 13 or 13 by 17, I think. Yeah, so here's my photo, and then all I'm gonna do is sort of punch my holes down the side here. I'm just gonna use this as a template, I think. Actually, I could just use this guy. And I'm using the 6-hole punch that Allie recommends. I got it from Amazon. And just line that up as a guide. Oh, well, you know, sometimes that happens. So for this photo, I wanted it to be black and white. I really wanted it to be in color because I'm wearing a green shirt, and all of my garland that I'm decorating with is green, of course. And so I really wanted that to sort of play with the green of my journaling block on the opposite page. But it's really distracting. There's a lot of, you know, I'm standing in the kitchen, so there's a lot going on in the background that I just felt like this made it a little bit clearer. All right, so let's get this guy trimmed out. And you can see, I don't know if you can see that, my paper is warped a little bit, so you can sort of see how curved it is. That's just from the heat embossing, so I could kind of flatten this out if I want to. I'm not too worried about it. When I adhere it down, it should be fine. If it's not sort of flattening out as I go through this process, I will add some red line tape to it when I adhere it to make sure it stays put in my album. So then I'm just trimming around the outside of the line here, and so that'll cut off sort of some of these edges of the embossing, which is totally fine. That's sort of my plan. So it looks like it goes off. Again, sort of interacts with that edge of the card. So there's my finished journaling. And I'm really happy with that. I may put a little something down here. I'm not quite sure about that yet. So basically, I'm going to adhere this onto the back of this card. And what I'm trying to decide is, do I just want it adhered flat? Or do I want to add some dimensionals to it and kind of adhere it so it's popped up? I think I want to do that. So it gives it just a little bit more dimension and texture. So let me see if I could find a little something to put down here. Oh, you know what may work are some of these little chipboard, like magnetic poetry pieces or chipboard word things that came in the main kit. If you have a way to store these that allows you to see them, please share that with me, because I need a better way to, I just need a better way, because I just kind of have them in this container over here, and they're not, it's just not working very well for me because I have to kind of pull them all out to look at them and see what we've got here. This one says happy, which, oh, that's kind of nice down there. And the copper would look really good with the happy, jolly maybe. I kind of want, my journaling here is about like getting ready and decorating. So I'm kind of feeling like I want something, maybe moments. All right, so what I decided to go with is the word cheer. And I am just committing to that. I don't want that to go far because I'm going to need it for this other side here. So let's adhere this guy on here. I'm going to use a bit of red line tape on here just because I don't want him to fall off. And that'll be a good way to sort of make sure he stays in place as the album's being open and closed. This is 1/8 inch red line tape that I ordered from Amazon. And I'm just going to kind of place that right over top of, try to center it, right over top of the embossing piece there because it kind of interrupts that and interacts with that in a fun way. And then on the back, I'm just going to use some dimensional adhesives. These are, again, Stampin' Up! I like the depth of theirs and the quality of it. The other thing with these kinds of dimensionals, these like pop dots, are that I have found over the years is trying to like cheap out on them or buy like in bulk from, you know, whatever, is that sometimes that is not worth it because peeling off these little paper backings, they're not all made the same. And sometimes it's not even worth the hassle to try to use these. You can see these kind of come off as of course, as I'm saying it, it's gonna give me trouble, but these kind of come off really quickly. And so they come off relatively easy. I have had some that end up just destroying the adhesive itself because you can't actually get the paper backing off. So try to go with name brand if you can. Sometimes that makes a difference. And then I'm just going to kind of position this in the center of the back of this envelope, and that's going to go right in my album, just like that. So that side of the page is done. What I'm going to do over here is try to figure out how to attach this. I don't want to use my sewing machine. Confession time, I don't know how to use my sewing machine. I've had one for probably 10 or 12 years now, and I don't really know how to use it. So I am going to trim this down first because I know I'm going to do that. And all I use is my paper trimmer, and I want to include that stitched line because I want it to be closed. So I'm just gonna cut right on the other side of that so that my pockets stay intact. Because I'm going to adhere them on. So I'm thinking about red line tape. I'm trying to remember if Allie, I know she did some of this in her travel album, and that page she just completed. I'm trying to remember how she did that. I kind of like, this is an old chipboard from an old kit, but I kind of like that Embrace the Season because it's sort of talking about my journaling. Sort of talks a little bit about like, I haven't really been feeling December until it sort of hit December 1st, and then gangbusters. Then we were ready to go. But I want a little bit of color over there too. So I'm looking through my embellishments. I store my embellishments. I'm storing my embellishments in this. These are iris cases, so it has a lid. I just have it taken off right now. And it closes. You can still get these. These are like 13 by 13, so they're big enough to fit 12 by 12 things in them. They no longer make these trays, unfortunately. So I was fortunate to buy them before they sort of stopped production on them. And I love them because these are all adjustable, so you can sort of tweak all these little things. But they no longer make them, unfortunately. I've pleaded with the company a lot and sent a good amount. Oh, maybe I like this more sparkle, less stress piece better. That was sort of going to be my mantra for this year, and it's just sort of shifted and changed on me before I started my album. But I do really like that sentiment. Maybe one of these felt hearts that could work in there. These are old. That's, you know, I've got some things in here that are a mix of products from the current kit and products from previous kits. Oh, I could include, so another thing I bought is a couple of different things from a couple different companies. These are little like sprigs, like little greenery sprigs from crepe paper. So I could kind of put one of these little guys in there. Since I'm putting up greenery, that might be kind of fun. Oh, and then my number is the other thing I want to add. So I took a page from Tashiana's idea from the prep party that she shared, and I'm using this. This is an old like Becky Higgins 6x8 album. I think it's 6x8. Yeah, and it's just one I had in my stash. So what I did is I cut down one of the story kit pockets and just adhered it with red line tape in the front. So I have all of my like sticker numbers in here. And then in the page pockets themselves, these are all just 3x4 page protectors that I had in my stash. I've separated out the numbers to use. It makes it so much easier to find them. They don't have a perfect closing system, so I'd love if I could create organization products for scrapbookers, that would be my like dream job. But something that has like a little, like the little zip ties on the top, or the little zip lock would be perfect if you could create those. So I'm gonna sort of tear into my stash of ones here and sort of see what I've got going on. I don't think I want to use the gold number 1. That's what I'm sort of thinking off the bat, because I have a lot of copper going on the other side. So I don't want to like conflict with that. Those kind of are too small, those ones that are left in there. So my options are the black, which I kind of already have. I could do the word one, kind of like that. Yep. Not even gonna belabor that anymore than necessary. So I'm gonna use the word number 1 to indicate the day of my story. And that worked out perfect. Simple. So I think I kind of like that. I'm gonna trim this down. I'm gonna trim this branch a little bit so that it's kind of just, I'm okay if it pokes out a little bit, and I may put some sort of little ribbon or twine or something around it. So now I just want to play around with, I think I'm gonna go with this and not the chipboard. And I think I'm just gonna play around. I could do this. No. Just sort of playing around with the arrangement to see sort of what makes sense to me. I think I like that, but actually, because then I could add a little red twine to this guy. So let me just pull out some of this, because it'll sort of work with the red there. I've incorporated some of my greenery, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm just gonna sort of tie a knot around this, I think. Oh, you know what I could do? I don't know if it'll work with this twine that I have. I have these tiny little bells that, yeah, I'm gonna grab those. So I bought a Felicity Jane kit a couple of years ago on sale after the holidays, and it came, sorry, I'm just digging through my stash to get the little pieces that I want. It came with these tiny little jingle bells. I think that would be super fun to include. But I need thinner baker's twine here, so I've got some of that. So let's untie that knot. I do like that look though. It's gonna look good, I think. This is Stampin' Up. It's super old. Oops, that's not the right. There we go. Helps if you have the right end of the twine. So that's a lot thinner. It'll be easier to sort of thread through these little guys here. Yep. All right, so I'm gonna trim off a piece of this. And probably wrap it around a couple times just to get a little bit more of that color on there and dimension. I'm trying to decide, are these, I think they're two different colors. Okay. Let's get to them the same color, because that might drive me crazy later. Yep. I am not worried about including these kinds of dimensional things in my album because I bought 2 albums this year because I just wanted the freedom to go all out, especially this year. Oh yeah, I'm so glad I thought of those because I had no idea. I mean, I still have quite a few of them left, but other than this, I had no idea what I would do with this. All right, so, and this is kind of fun because it reminds me a little bit of like decorating the house. It just feels like creating a little vignette kind of thing, which I've been doing a lot of the last couple days as I've gotten my decorating done. All right, so got both of these up front. I'm just gonna tie a little, I think I'm just gonna tie a knot. I'm not gonna try to do a bow because this is real thin stuff. It won't look great. And then I can just leave some tails. All right, love using up stuff from my stash. Love incorporating that into, in with my new stuff and sort of making it all work. All right, so there's that little guy. I'm gonna use, these are wire. They have like a bendable element in them. So I'm gonna actually use my wire cutters and cut that. And then that'll sort of tuck right in there. Oh, that's cute. Kind of looks like a V in a weird way, but I can reposition that. And I might have put a little glue dot on the back of it to sort of keep it in place. So what I need to figure out now is how I'm going to attach this to the page. In some cases, like behind this one and behind this, I could do red line tape and sort of adhere that in place, but I don't think that would be strong enough. And I don't really want to see the adhesive that I'm using. All right, so I'm gonna think about that for a minute. I'll return. All right, I am back. It's been a little bit since I started the page, but I had my husband teach me how to use my sewing machine. He just has more sewing experience. I've never actually used mine to attach my page protector here. So I just have the two by two, and it's a little wonky. I don't know if you can sort of see that. It sort of slid as I was stitching it on, but I don't care because for a first run, it's pretty good, and I am so excited. So now what I'm gonna do is just attach all the little bits and bobs that I have in here. And so I think what I'm gonna do is actually maybe staple some of these things in place. This has adhesive on the back, so I could just sort of use that. But for the heart, I'm gonna staple it in place because it does not have adhesive. So I'm gonna put that in place just using my tiny attacher. Through the front there, and this guy, I may just slide him in the pocket and see if he'll stay in place. He might be okay there. And then this one, let's do this bottom one first. I think I am gonna adhere him, try to stick him in place inside the pocket. Just to keep them from going anywhere. This one's sort of rubberized, so it should be it sort of has a little bit more to stay in place. All right. That is going okay. It's gonna sort of slide around. So it needs some adhesive on the back. I'm wondering if I could just do like a glue dot. Let's see what we get. Yeah, I think I've got these tiny little Zotz glue dots. I just got them from Michael's or Amazon, something. There's something in my stash. And I just sort of put those on the back of the stem here to try to hold it in place once I get it in the pocket. Come on, don't stick yet. There we go. All right, and I may use just some sort of tool to get in here and sort of I may actually just put another one on the back of this. The nice thing is that with it being on the page protector being mounted to the photo directly, you can't see anything that's on the back. So that's kind of nice. All right. So that is my page. I don't think I'm going to do anything else to this. I think I'm pretty happy with where that ended up. So again, my journaling here with the embossing, heat embossing, paired with my black and white photo. So that's day one. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments below. And otherwise, thanks for watching and happy December.